boy, Dinah. I never thought I'd see the day I'd get in trouble for finishing my schoolwork early. But that's what happened today. Kim and I were in study hall, and we both finished our assignments 10 minutes early. So we started planning what to do at lunch, and Mrs. Alphen nailed us for talking. When we tried to tell her we'd finished our work, you know what she said? She said, "You can talk all you want as long as you don't disturb anyone." Now, how in the world are Kim and I supposed to communicate with each other without somebody hearing us? I mean, that would be as impossible as walking through a mirror. Well, almost.
Hold on to your seat, let's go for a ride. Now that we're here on the other side. Use your imagination and you'll understand. It's an adventure in Wonderland. Every day is something new, with music, rhyme, and a dance or two. It's a curious place with a wonderful crew, and you're never quite sure what they will do. Use your imagination, you'll understand. It's an adventure in Wonderland. Adventure in Wonderland. Adventure in Wonderland.
Her Most Royal Majesty, the Queen of Hearts. Would you believe I was just warming up the audience for your speech?
No, I wouldn't believe it. Besides, the audience doesn't need to be warmed up for my speeches. When I speak, people listen. Friends, royal subjects, loyal Wonderlandians, lend me your ears. Hey! Hey! Why are you all talking during my speech?
Well, if we don't talk during your speeches, what are we going to do?
You're going to listen. That's what you're going to do. Friends, royal subjects, loyal Wonderlandians, lend me your ears. Does it? I'm not going to say another word until you all stop talking. Oh, dumb! If you have so much to say, why don't you go up there and give a speech?
Well, okay, but I really don't have anything planned.
Oh, sit down. I'm the only one that's going to give a speech around here. Oh, right, that tears it. I'm not going to give my speech. All your jibble-jabble, bibble-babble, chitter-chatter has ruined my concentration.
Oh, well, I guess we can all leave now.
Back up! You're not getting off that easy. I'm ordering all of you to come back here this afternoon and sit through my speech again. And this time without talking. Quit your belly aching. It won't be as hard as it sounds, because by then you'll have lots of practice being quiet. I'm ordering all of you not to say a single solitary word for the rest of the day.
But, Your Majesty, how will we talk to one another?
Alice, weren't you listening? I just said you couldn't speak.
Actually, Your Majesty, you said not a single solitary word, and Alice just said 10. But Your Majesty...
Oh, and I'll simplify it for you. No one speaks. Not one word, not 10 words. I want Because, you know what they say, silence is golden. When the first thing you hear as you start the day is an alarm clock shouting to wake up. A dog is barking, a car horn is honking. It seems your ears are gonna have it rough. The noises of the day start unfolding. Think silence is golden. When you hear the awful racket, and it's causing you to come unglued. It sounds like a riot. You wish they'd be quiet. Let me tell you what I do. When the noises of the day start unfolding, think silence is golden. Silence is golden.
You're probably all wondering why I called you here.
Well, I was. But I didn't dare ask since the Queen ordered us not to say a single solitary word.
But I can't be quiet all afternoon.
I hear you, Alice, and that's the problem. For the rest of today, we're to be seen and not heard.
Why, we'd be in trouble if the Queen even saw us talking about not talking.
That's right. Only if she recognized us. Much better.
But even with these disguises, we'd better be as quiet as mice.
Quieter than that, Alice. When we mice get together, we really whoop it up.
Only there was some way for us to talk to each other without speaking aloud.
Oh, there is. I have a cousin who communicates by speaking with her hands.
How does she do that?
Like this.
Hi there, Tweedledee. May I borrow some hand cream? I have chapped lips. Get it?
Not that cousin. I was thinking of my cousin April Hare. She can speak a whole language just using her hands.
Do you think she'd come here and teach it to us?
Oh, sure. That is, as long as we don't make her wear goofy glasses.
Oh, what?
Everyone, this is my cousin, April.
Oh, hi, April.
April, say hi to my friends.
Hi.
Wow. You really can talk with your hands.
Could you show us how to do that?
It's I. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
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 April. Could you show me how to sign mouse?
Sure. M-O-U-S-E. Mouse.
I like that. A whole new way to say mouse.
That's great, April. How did you ever come up with such a neat language?
I'm sorry, Alice. I forgot to tell you. April can't hear you unless she can see you.
Your cousin hears with her eyes?
Well, in a way. You see, April is hearing impaired.
Hearing impaired. What does that mean?
It means she can't hear the way we can.
In a word, I'm deaf.
If you are deaf, then how do you know what we're saying?
She has a hearing aid. I'll bet that's how.
It helps. But mostly, I read lips.
Read lips? What if there's nothing printed on them?
She means she watches your mouth and face when you speak so she can see what you're saying.
Oh, can you tell every word I'm saying just by reading my lips?
Can you tell every word by reading lips?
Oh, no.
Even if you're good at it, you miss a lot of words by lip reading. That's why sign language is the best way to talk to April.
Well, I want to learn sign language because sign language is definitely cool.
Right. You can sign us up. Hold your tongue while you hold a conversation. It's a quiet way to convey information.
It may seem strange, maybe even absurd. Without saying a word, you can always be heard.
Contrary-wise, try to understand. You can hear it with your eyes.
Speak with your hands.
When it's spelling bee without uttering a sound.
Now we're going to show you how.
M-O-U-S-E. Let your fingers do the talking. M-O-U-S-E. Sign us up. chit-chat?
No way. Know how to have a peaceful powwow.
No, how?
Conduct the lecture with a flick of the wrist. With just a gesture, you'll be getting the gist.
Maybe each of us can teach the art of speechless speeches to the queen.
Are you seeing what we're saying? Let us show you what we mean. M-O-U-S-E. Let your fingers do the talking. M-O-U-S-E. Sign us up.
Her Most Royal Majesty, the Queen of Hearts.
All right, everyone. It's time for me to give my speech again. And this time, without so much as a whispery peep from any of you. Friends, royal subjects, loyal Wonderlandians, lend me your ears. Rabbit, what are they doing out there?
I'm not sure, Your Majesty, but I think it's charades. You know, acting out words without saying anything.
No, they're not doing charades. They're doing something else. Wait, I know what they're doing. They're making me crabby, that's what they're doing. All right, everybody, cut. Okay, dumb. Now tell me what you chuckleheads were doing. Don't you wiggle your fingers at me, young man.
But, Your Majesty, you ordered him not to speak for the rest of the day.
Oh, right. All right. You can all speak, but just until I find out what you're up to.
Since you ordered us not to make a sound, Your Majesty, we all were communicating with sign language.
See, you can communicate entire words or phrases just by using your hands. Isn't it great?
No, it's not great, because I don't know how to do it.
Well, gee, we didn't know how to sign either until April taught us.
April? Who's April?
My cousin. She's waiting for us back at Hatter's.
Oh, Rabbit, I order you to go and get Hare's cousin and bring her back to the palace. She will be happy to teach me sign language, won't she?
Of course she will.
Especially since she'll have no choice.
How true that is.
Good. Rabbit, go and invite Hare's cousin to the palace. And as for the rest of you, we're going back to the no-talking rule. And I'm ordering all of you to come back here and sit through my speech again. And this time, without talking or signing.
Help yourself to tea, April.
Thank you, Dormouse.
Sorry I can't stay longer, but I'm playing tennis today in the American Cheese Open. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, excuse me, you must be the Hare's cousin. Yes. Well, Her Most Royal Majesty, the Queen of Hearts, has sent me here to invite you to the palace. Yes, well, perhaps you don't understand what a great honor it is to receive an official invitation to visit the Queen. And perhaps you don't realize that it's terribly rude not to turn around when someone's talking to you. Oh, well, if you won't even speak to me, then I suppose I'll just have to go back to the Queen and tell her that you're turning down her royal invitation. So then no is your final answer? Well, then no it is. But I should warn you, I'm sure the Queen will have something to say about this. What? She said no to the Queen? Worse than that, Your Majesty. she made me say it for her. You see, she did not even dignify your royal invitation with a response.
Oh, of all the nerve. This April Hare insulted me? Well,
Not to mention insulting your right-hand rabbit. But you would never allow anyone to say an unkind word to me. Your loyal, faithful, steadfast, true blue.
oh, save it, Rabbit. You're getting on my nerves. So, Hare's cousin feels she doesn't have to accept an invitation from the Queen, huh? Well, then maybe she doesn't need to be in Wonderland at all.
April Hare, April Hare, I bring you an official proclamation from the Queen. Whereas the Queen of Hearts is the most royal of royals, and whereas, I think we can skip that part. And whereas, sheesh, I wish Her Majesty would lighten up on the official language. But I believe we can just skip to the end. Therefore, by proclamation of Her Most Royal Majesty, you are hereby banished from Wonderland.
But why?
I think it's perfectly clear why. After all, nobody says no to the Queen.
You've crossed the line, you've reached the end, because our Queen you did offend. You've committed a grievous mistake, and she's handed out all she can take. The number one rule of the land is do not ignore a royal command. No one says no to the Queen. From the dawning days of Wonderland, this is an issue on which we take stand. No one says no to the Queen. No one says no to the Queen. We're sorry if you think us rude, but you broke the law, we must conclude. Nobody ever dismisses her order, not a subject, not a guest, not even a border. The number one rule of the land is do not ignore a royal command. No one says no to the Queen. From the dawning days of Wonderland, this is an issue on which we take stand. No one says no to the Queen. No, 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 no. No one says no to the Queen.
Hello. I hope you didn't mind the tap on the shoulder. I've been told it's a good way to get the attention of someone who's hearing impaired.
It is. How did you know?
Oh, well, you know, you hear things. Sorry. Not really. I noticed you're wearing a hearing aid.
You're a very observant caterpillar.
Oh, well, thank you. So, tell me, why were you walking around with such a long face?
For some reason, the Queen banished me from Wonderland.
The Queen banished you from Wonderland? Well, Her Majesty does have her crabby days. Come to think of it, they're all crabby days. It seems to me like the Queen just acted before she had all the information. Perhaps I'd better tell you this story. Once there was a kangaroo named Keith who jumped a lot. Now, of course, all kangaroos jump a lot, but Keith had a tendency to jump to conclusions. In other words, no matter what he saw going on, he always thought the worst without finding out the whole story. When he saw a collection of koalas consuming, he jumped to the conclusion that it was a party where he was not welcome. And when he saw a clique of kookaburras cackling, he jumped to the conclusion that they were having a laugh at his expense. Finally, Keith jumped to the conclusion that he didn't have any friends. But Keith did have friends, and one of them finally put his foot down. Keith's friends scolded him for always jumping to conclusions. If you just stick around long enough to see what's really going on, his friend said, you'll realize that things aren't always what they seem. Keith decided his friend was right. Jumping to conclusions was a good way to get his feelings hurt. So from that day on, Keith never jumped to conclusions, and this put a bounce back into his step. So, it looks to me like the Queen just heard something and jumped to the wrong conclusions. Maybe she'll realize she made a mistake.
Turtle, I'm out of my ear, so to speak.
Her Most Royal Majesty, the Queen of Hearts.
All right. I'm going to try one last time to give my speech. Friends, royal subjects, loyal Wonderlandians, lend me your ears. Wait a minute. Where's the hare?
Here I am, Your Majesty.
You're late, and you're talking.
Sorry, Your Majesty, but I have to have a word with you. My cousin's leaving on the 5 o'clock train. Her note says you banished her from Wonderland.
Yes, because she said no to the Queen.
And she didn't even have the courtesy to turn around and look at me when I invited her to the palace.
See, even they're shocked.
That's not why we're shocked, Your Majesty. We're shocked because you jumped to the wrong conclusion.
Hannah, who said you could speak?
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but it's time we all spoke up.
Alice, you're speaking too? Oh, and you used to be such a nice girl.
But, Your Majesty, Hare's cousin didn't turn down your invitation out of disrespect.
No, she didn't even hear it.
Now, how can that be? Why, when I spoke to her, I was standing directly behind her.
But you have to stand in front of her so she can see you're talking. My cousin's deaf.
Oh, so then she never even heard the invitation.
So I banished the poor woman from Wonderland for no good reason? Well, don't just stand there. We've got to stop her before she gets on that train.
I'm sorry you're already leaving Wonderland. I was kind of hoping you'd teach me that sign language.
Come with me. I'll teach you.
Great. You'll be hearing from me.
Stop! Don't get on that train.
She can't hear you, Your Majesty.
Remember, that's how you got into this mess in the first place.
Oh, yes. April, I owe you a big apology. I'm afraid I made a mistake.
She says she made a mistake.
And I'm queen enough to admit it. Rabbit!
Queen of Hearts is the most royal of royals, and whereas the Sovereign of Wonderland is always fair, and whereas...
Gee! I've got to lighten up on the official language. Rabbit, skip to the good part.
Therefore, by proclamation of Her Royal Majesty, you are hereby unbanished from Wonderland.
And now, I'd be honored if you'd be my guest at the palace and teach me some of that nifty sign language.
Oh, I would like to.
Oh, after all, a queen can always use another language for bossing people around.
Well, the important thing is we're all friends now. In other words, we speak the same language.
Success, we have succeeded. Success where it was needed. Everybody has a way to say hi, and not confuse it with goodbye. Words look different, alphabets too, are written on paper or signed by hand. We speak the same language 'cause we all understand. Friends can communicate in so many ways. They can hear or see what others say. Everybody's different and it's all okay. Words look different, alphabets too, are written on paper or signed by hand. We speak the same language 'cause we all understand. Scooby-Doo, what diddly-do, we all understand.
Hi, Dinah. Or should I say, that means hi. You see, I found out there's a whole other language that I didn't know about called sign language. And once I learn it, it's one more way I can communicate with someone who is hearing impaired. Isn't that great? Come to think of it, if Kim also learns how to sign, then we can communicate in study hall without disturbing anybody. Now let me show you how to do this. See, H